Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I'll be showing you another restoration project I just finished up here. And this video is also for Richard, who owns this really nice Polymoog 280A. So this one here, it looked pretty good on arrival, but man, electronically it was very sick. It had so many faults in it that I had to address. It's been a long time I've had a Polymoog in here that was this sick. But I'll kind of explain what I had to do to it. I wish I could have brought you guys on the hardcore adventure of this one, but I just honestly, it was just too much work, and I've had such a backlog. And those hardcore videos, they take such a long time for me to record, edit, put together. I just hadn't had the time, I'll be honest with you. So I've just been knocking this stuff out. But I'll explain what was going on with this one. So when it arrived, it did nothing. It powered up. You would see everything light up, but it didn't make any sounds. Except a loud hum, and had some other problems. Now this one did not have the typical tantalum cap failure that I typically see. It was everything else. So it already started out as a weird instrument. But I started with the reference oscillators. Of course the power supply was working fine. It had all the voltages. So I turned my attention to the reference oscillators. We had one oscillator that's supposed to run at 1 kilohertz. It's running at 22 kilohertz. Had to fix that. Got that fixed, went to the HFO cards, had one HFO card running at like 5.4 megahertz. It's not supposed to run that high in frequency, it's supposed to be around 2.3, 2.4 megahertz. That was the problem. Had a bunch of bad dividers. Then it had issues with the lower motherboard for the low octave. We had some caps that had just gone bad, so you had dynamic issues, you had contour problems, you had waveform problems, just all kinds of problems there. We had program problems. A lot of the presets wouldn't work. We had a mixture of bad logic circuitry. We had some bad op amps. We had some bad programming. Somebody had actually went there and pulled a resistor or two, and they wasn't in the right spots and that kind of stuff. So the programming wasn't right. We had issues with the external keyboard circuit. It wasn't working. We had issues with the contour for the VCF, which was also a problem. I mean, you name it, this thing had it. So just to give you an idea of what all was going on with this one. That was where it pretty much was. So it was a lot of troubleshooting, lots of digging in, and a lot of scratching my head to figure out why things were doing what they were doing. And so it just took a while. I think what this one really boils down to is it hadn't been powered in so long that a lot of the components were just really flaky when they got electron flow. That happens. But after I got all the electronics working, of course I stripped it all the way down, washed the chassis, rebuilt the keyboard assembly, brand new key bushings, full alignment on both the key height and contact travel for the proper dynamic response. Took the sliders apart, flushed them, cleaned them, got rid of the Moog foam that's behind this panel, cleaned all the presets, actually cleaned up all this and put new chrome paint on it, so that's nice and shiny looking. Detailed everything once it was done. 14-hour burn-in to make sure everything else held up like it was supposed to. And as you can see, I mean, it's a great looking Polymoog. It's a good example of a 280A. And of course now with all the work that's been done, it's very reliable. It's going to be really fantastic. But just a few of the components I replaced here, or should I say few, is a bunch of components I replaced. But all the ones that are in yellow are the failures. So those are all failure components. We had a broken socket connector. We had a bad polystyrene cap. This was part of the reference oscillator issue. It's running at 22 kilohertz because the timing cap was bad. All electrolytic capacitors replaced. Power supply's been rebuilt. New LEDs. New tantalum caps. Diodes. TVS diodes. Rectifier diodes. Zener diodes. New power transistors in the power supply. You name it, I pretty much touched this one. Now what I did for the lower motherboard, because it had so many of these caps that were bad and I didn't have them in stock, I actually had a very good lower motherboard that worked great, and I just switched out the lower motherboards. So he has a donor lower motherboard in this one just to save time, because you get into a lot of labor and expense when you have to switch out all those caps and do all that kind of work. So just to kind of save on the budget a little bit, it was cheaper to go that route. But cleaned it up really good, detailed the top cabinet as well, washed it, cleaned it, and it just looks really good. I'll bring you on around here. So I'm going to drag my power supply for my camera. This camera sucks with a battery. But anyways, now we're back here, and just show you, this is your seal number, Richard. It's 1752. There's your seal number, and just cleaned everything up really good all the way around. It's just a really good looking Polymoog, and it works like it's supposed to now, which is even better. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to first start just by going through the presets here. We'll go through direct output, and then I'll switch gears. We'll go through the main output, show you the fixed filters are all working here. But we'll start with preset 1, Vox Humana, which is the legendary sound of the 280A. And you can just see how great this thing sounds. The dynamics work great. You have all that sounds. Of course, you can't have Vox Humana without doing some Gary Newman. And for this particular preset, if we put just a little reverb on it, that's where it really comes alive as well. So put just a little bit of reverb on it here, for especially this part. So pretty much instant Gary Newman. And of course Cars. That's the classic sound right there. But you gotta have a little reverb to do the Gary Newman stuff. But that's preset 1, Vox Humana. Of course, we can modify that to some degree. Now, the 280A, once again, it's a cut down 203A. So you lose a lot of your control. Some things will only work in certain presets. Some things change what they control in certain presets. So you're very limited to what you can do. But you get more presets. Where the 203A only had 8 presets, 9 being your variable. This now has 14 presets. So you get a little more variation here. But here it is with the modulation. We'll also select variation and modulation. So basically we have control over one of the vibratos, or frequency modulations. And of course we also do have beat control as well. So we can detune these oscillators. We'll go back to preset here. So actually detune this. This is how Gary Newman did some of his other sounds. So if we go here and go, you just offset the oscillators a little bit. Now you got the Retune that up here. Now naturally this thing has some natural beating that goes on even when the oscillators are calibrated, and that's actually what makes this thing have that really good sound. We also have attack. We can turn attack into variable, and we'll turn it to 0, and that's going to have a very hard attack. And it doesn't matter how easy I hit the key. We can turn that up to 10. We have our dynamic back again. So that's our attack, our modulation, our detuning effect. I will show you also too the ribbon works really good. So there's the ribbon controller, and of course it settles back in the middle like it's supposed to. As you can see, no effects in tuning when you hit the center position. So now here's preset 2. It's strings 1. Once again, we got some variation modes. So this one here, the rate doesn't do anything, but you have a mount control. As you can see, rate doesn't do anything. Attack works on some of these it don't. In this case, it's working more of a decay. So that's preset 2. Here's preset 3. That's another gain Newman preset. And then we got modulation control. Once again, no rate control. Just a mount. We do have attack. That's preset 3. Here's preset 4, electric piano. This one here we do have a rate. No attack. So that's preset 4. Here's preset 5. So we do have modulation on this one. See if we have attack. Attack doesn't do anything on this preset. So that's piano, preset 5. Honky Tonk Piano, which is an out of tune piano, so they just have detuning effect inside the programming. So that's preset 6, preset 7. That's clavichord. And this one here, actually it goes back to honky tonk right quick, preset 6. I didn't show you the modulation. So this one here, we have a slight frequency modulation. We can control the rate and the amount. I don't know if we have attack or not. Attack does not work. Now we'll go back to preset 7 clavichord and see if it has any. It does. It has rate and amount. So if we got attack. Attack doesn't do anything. Then we got preset 8, which is harpsichord. So if we got anything for it. But do we have a little bit of modulation there? So we got attack. No attack programmed. So that's preset 8. Here's preset 9, brass. We do have a program there for frequency modulation of both oscillators. We do have a attack program as well. So that's preset 9, brass. Here's preset 10, brass chorus. There we have a pulse width modulation. You can control the rate and the amount. So that's our modulation. Then we got attack. Let's see if it works. It does work. So that's preset 10, brass chorus. Here's preset 11, which is pipe organ. Sounds really good. Let's see if we got modulation for that. We do. Same thing, pulse width modulation. Let's see if attack works. It does. So that's preset 11, pipe organ. Then we got rock organ. So there's a rock organ. We'll see what modulations we have here. We have another pulse width modulation. So if we have attack, attack does not do anything. So that's rock organ. Then we got the most simplest preset on any Polymoog. This is vibes. It's a real simple, just a square wave with a little bit of modulation, frequency modulation. This is the one I typically take out of a 203A and program Vox Humana in its place on the 203A model, because it's just such a basic preset. I have controlled the frequency modulation, which you can hear. See if we got attack. Attack doesn't do anything. So that's vibes. Then we got funk. This is also a pretty cool preset. Now this, when you engage the modulation, you lose your pulse width modulation, but you gain frequency modulation, which you can hear. It becomes really simple with the modulation. And attack doesn't work for this one either. So anyways, that's your presets to direct output. We'll go back to preset 1. Now I'm going to go to the second channel of my mixer, which is the main outs, which is actually where you're going to the fixed filters. So let me mute this. Go to this channel here. Now we're in the actual fixed filter banks. And you'll hear that the tones will change because they're actually trying to simulate what they're going after in the presets, where the direct is right off the lower motherboards, the Polycom chips. This is now going to those fixed filters, so you have a little bit of tonality change. So it sounds like this. So here's Vox Humana. And you have this volume control. That's actually what it's working over here. This is your volume control for your fixed filter banks. When you're in the direct output, this volume slider here does nothing. It's looking directly at the octave balance sliders. So that's Vox Humana to the fixed filters. Here's preset 2, strings. Strings 2, which is preset 3. Preset 4, electric piano. Now you can actually hear it sounds more like electric piano. So that's preset 4. Preset 5, piano. A little variation of the electric piano. So that's preset 5. Preset 6, this is honky tonk. Clavichord. You also notice it sounds more like a clavichord now as well. Then we got harpsichord. brass. Now brass and brass chorus actually used a VCF transistor ladder. Just like the Moog filter, it has that for just preset 9 and 10. It gives you a nice little envelope follower for your filter. So you get these nice little brassy kind of horn sounds. And right now we're in single trigger, which means if I hold in one key, it's not going to re-trigger. So you can see there's a switch on the back I can flip, and now it's going to be multi-trigger. You can see I hold in that note. It'll re-trigger that envelope for the filter. Switch that back, and that's all working correctly as well. Had to spend some time in that circuit as well. I was having a lot of issues with that not working in the single trigger mode. But I got that fixed. So that's preset 9 brass. Then we got brass chorus, which is using the same filter setup. Once again, it's just using a different pulse width modulation for preset 10 for that chorus effect. Then we got pipe organ. So that's preset 11, preset 12, rock organ. Then we got vibes. So that's vibes. Then we got funk. And that's your presets. Now something you also have, we'll go back to preset 1, you got this bass filter. And it doesn't do anything when you're in a direct output, but when you're in the main output or the bass output, there's actually a dedicated channel just for this. You switch that on, your lower octave now has this bass filter, which is, it's basically like one stage of the resonator section from a 283A, but it gives you those really low end. I'll see if I can get this to work through my camera here. So we'll start here. You can hear, you don't hear anything on the lower notes. So you hear these upper notes. Of course, right here is your split point on this note here. But we'll go here. I'll bring it up to level. So we got the level. Now I can control the frequency of this filter. So you can hear that extra low end. Now what we can do is we can actually unmute the other channel and combine the filter output with the direct output, and it sounds something like this right here. We'll pan them a little bit. Give me just a second to do this. We'll put a little reverb on both channels just to liven it up a little bit. I'll bring up our fixed filters just a hair. There we go. again, without the fixed filter banks added to that, this is what it sounds like. Of course, there we go. Combine that back with our fixed filters. Put the bass filter in there. Anyways, you can just hear how that works. So that's your main output with the direct output. Now, when you're in direct output, like I say, it's not going through those fixed filters. So even the Vox Humana filter is not being used when you're in direct output. Most people use direct output only. There is a few Gary Newman songs, though, you will hear where he's using the main output combined with the direct output. And you can just kind of pay attention for some of those sounds like you're hearing there, where you have the real kind of vocal, nasally piece along with the really lively Vox Humana sound. That was an example of doing that, and using the bass filter as well. But anyways, just want to take a minute here and demo this thing for you guys. Appreciate you watching. And a special thank you to Richard for letting me restore this Polymoog for you. And there'll be more to come here very soon. Take care.